Welcome to the conference.
Hey guys, can you hear me okay? Oh, hang on. Be good if I had your mics on mute. Check.
Check.
All right, hang on. Coming. All right, everybody, away we go. Welcome to today's call. It is Tuesday, October 1st. Just like that, ends another quarter. I'm excited to do this. This is the TRC helpline, and it is fresh 2 days, 48 hours after TRC Live number 7. Believe it or not, even though there was a hiatus, that was the 7th time I've had the privilege of being with you live. And I'll tell you, this one was by far and away the best. I think it's because our own culture of seriousness, of purpose, and intentionality has clearly begun to arrive and evolve. And yeah, I'm excited about that. It was a thrill for me to be able to do it, work on the booklet. And again, I appreciate you work through with me the bumps in the road there to get this thing live and going. But we have 12 months before the next one. I'll tell you that right now. Laura is already locking in and booking in the time for next year. Probably be 1 week earlier, and it will be a Thursday, Friday, which was our original preference. So those are some of the things that we're going to adjust. So you can block the time right now and know that we will be back in that room in 12 months. And for those of you that were there, the easiest thing for you to do to chart that course, like we said, is go through this booklet with me on your one-on-ones, ask your questions here. And again, we'll use the first part of this helpline. I was going to do it on Thursday, but no need to wait. That if there were any epiphanies or major ideas, and again, I think what was interesting, like Laura said, there wasn't any earth-shattering thing, like some big idea. It was more like we're benchmarking now against where we were and where we've gone. And for Laura, her big takeaway was that we have actually evolved pretty dang well. And that's exciting for me to hear, is that she felt like we've evolved and there wasn't any zeros. For a lot of you, there were, because it was either your first time in the room working on that booklet. Others of you should have, had some advancement. But the one big thing that I recognize as an opportunity for me as your guide, there still are a lot of big rocks in the jar. And one of the first things that I'm going to deal with after we have a couple of, epiphanies is the website. Again, I understand it now. I do have a dog in the hunt now. I'm a website company owner. But this isn't about that per se. It's about a sense of space. When we did that part about the hierarchy of needs and showing Maslow's hierarchy of needs, if you don't have that kind of shelter for your business, that's number 2, right? Can the business provide for you so that you stay in it is number 1 need. Number 2 need, is it a place? And so the sense of place in the digital age is 2 things. There's still that depot where it needs to be sitting in the center, the epicenter of where it's at, so that if you're going to hire and expand with people, there's a sense of place for them. And that gives them the 3rd need, which is a sense of belonging. So I thought that was a big deal. And I think the reason why a lot of us don't have it is because we have this tremendous case of ADD on one side of the aisle and OCD, which causes paralytic fear on the other. So some people are trying to get there, but they're circling, chasing their tails. Others are just paralyzed in fear. They can't believe that that could be them. So my opportunity is to help you in yourself recognize, which one is it? Is it a case of OCD that's got you paralyzed in fear from taking a step? Or is it ADD because you got too many things on the table and you can't execute the simple ones, right? So if you were at the conference, you came to a conclusion in each module, and there's a major thing sitting there that he's executing. And it's probably a pretty big, simple rock that we just roll into this, this area and we start to build the foundation. And so a lot of you, this is where we get into that technical questionnaire and all these things that we can show. But a lot of you don't do anything intentionally in the past client module like I did it. And now we have something extremely intentional, and it's leading to business. We have somebody right now that is consummating $700,000 worth of transactions. She's a past client. She's on that stuff. We have another one that's about to complete his second deal since we started that 36 months ago. That's worth $1 million. I mean, there's $1.7 million alone that I know has intentionally come from past client newsletters. And so that's a lot of money. And it's super low cost and it's super easy to do. And we just keep evolving it and it keeps getting better and better and better and better and better. Okay. So that's an example of what it is. So when I open up the mics, those of you that were there, please help me out and just give me an idea that you walked away without the, the over exuberant reaction to it. We don't want to sound like we're just, silly kids that came up with a great idea, but more so serious business people. What is that thing? And this is where it starts. But I am going to bracket this. Paul Cantu and Dean Miller and Corey. By the way, Corey, thank you so much for your time, your effort, your diligence to record things and be there, and Dean for your enthusiasm to bring the podcast equipment right into the room and grab a couple of people in real live time. That was exciting to see evolution like that. Also, those of you that brought children from Anida to Doug, to me, that was also an interesting evolution to see that we are growing as a family. And it's just fun to see people walk through the room like that too. All right. So a couple epiphanies first, and then let's get to work. All right, here we go. All right, who's up first? Couple epiphanies that you had, and I say epiphany lightly this time. I don't want to exaggerate. Somebody want to weigh in on that? What was a big takeaway for you?
My major epiphany, Danny, Grant, and Phoenix, was the management. I wasn't being a good manager to Katie and Dawn and maybe even Odette a little bit.
Yeah. Okay, good.
So with meetings and setting expectations, not even setting expectations, here's what we do and how we do it. And I think if I were to manage them and really kind of go at that, they would absorb it and be able to articulate it and carry that vision out, push the vision out for the Van Dyke Group to everybody they come in contact with. I think they'd be better in their jobs for it.
Awesome. So again, go to the hierarchy of needs. This sense of belonging to something that's clear. So your next distinction is you have this GVD group thing. The Van Dyke Group thing is strong, and the people that are around it love it, and they love you as the leader. But Voltaire came away with that thought too, that this vision wasn't clear enough for him, right? And that's what he really wanted to do. He wanted to get a better sense of vision, which I thought was interesting. It's interesting to see what people take away from this and having that establishment. So Grant, if it's let's take it to the module for strategic business vision, and if you were to forecast and look out into the future and set that chart 12 months from now, when we do it all again, what is it that you need to do to really make that really solidify and really be part of what it is that you do? What do you have to do?
I believe I need to get clear and have written down my vision and plan for a 1 year and a 5 year. I won't even touch 10 right now. I don't know why, but I just have to have a clear vision of what we need to be doing and how we do it, and have it written down so there's structure and order and there's a playbook. This is what we do. We're not doing things by chance. This is how we're going to achieve our goals. So I need a roadmap.
Yeah. Oh, okay. And so you have a roadmap beneath that, in that let's get down off of the two vision. Like when I was doing this module, this infographic, which I'll open up here. Sorry, I forgot to open up the GoToMeeting. I'll do it now for those of you that are there, and I'll just make sure this is recorded. Just for the GoToMeeting recording, this is Tuesday, October 1st, 2019, and this is the TRC helpline post TRC Live 7. So I think that the point here that I recognized are the words are important. At the top is this entrepreneurial persona who's responsible for what you just said, is the clear, simple though, Grant, simple vision, the clear and simple vision for what this business is. And going to the booklet and being able to articulate the definition. Start there, Grant. You know what I mean? You don't overlook the resource of the booklet, which has been now 7 times in 7 years worth of work to try as a mastermind group to chunk up what we believe is a simple definition for a world-class real estate business, right? Again, world-class being Michael Gerber's words, but maybe ours becomes professional. because that's language that belongs to the TRC. We are professional grade. We kept saying that, and we've been saying it for 7 years. What does Grant Van Dyke's group look like as a professional business 12 months from now? I get the 5 and the 10 and all, but 12 months. If we set a goal to really, really be determined and different, that goal is a short-term goal, believe it or not, right? 12 months will whip and fly by. I would start with that one. And I would go back to the exercise and I would look at the strengths of your business vision, the weaknesses, and what do you do specifically right there. So I don't think it needs to be a lot in a big, separate piece. Well, I do. Separate piece is part of all these modules, right? And that's the one thing that I really, really, really think needs to get locked down. Make sense?
Mm-hmm.
So that's
I think.
Go ahead.
I would like to see us all I'd like to see us all on the same page. Katie, Dawn, myself, as kind of and Adette for caller. And I don't think we're that far off, but I think we're just a few degrees, which will spin us off in 12 months. So I think to get us all on the same page and work towards a goal, which I have to identify. So we all know to a degree what each one of us is doing. I think that synthesis there, that working together as a unit rather than individuals would help. So that would be my business vision. So we're there.
Okay, so now here, cheat to the model. With all this work of this mastermind group, we have a model. So watch how quickly you can get clear. When you step out of that whatever it is that you wrote down on that singular section, the next thing is the only reason for marketing is to tie it to a financial goal. So for your own book of business, which we all talk about is critical, number one, and we said this, would you be more likely to want to expand with other people that do what you do like agents if your own core book of business was expanded through leverage? And the answer was, it's a rhetorical question, right? Rhetorical. Of course you would. So the point is, now you just simply go to the strategic marketing plan where we know what we know about a mind map. And we know that a world-class mind map for marketing is tied to the financial goal. So you can't not have Katie and anybody else that's intimately involved, like your telemarketer, to that goal. You can't, they have to know that number, right? They have to know that number. So Laura and now Autumn need to know that in the mind map, it's $500,000 to $1 million, and we made it a range because I feel like the 500, once we hit on all cylinders, should be easily achievable as we move the average price up, as we close the gap on lead sourcing, and we begin to get a steadiness. We should be able to easily achieve that with the efforts of 3 people following a strategic plan. But it's very clear. So now this business vision for world-class. For me, it's that systems, it's that prototype, it's that thing that doesn't rely on Danny, it relies on its systems. That's my business vision. But my specifics are how I have to hit a certain number, and I have to have the leverage and the expansion on how I do that through a better system of conversion and telemarketing, right? And those people and those systems are in place. Now we need to just grind through the time to get it. Are you tracking me? How easy this is? Don't make this some weird general thing. We already have done the work. We've done the work. You have to go back and fill in those blanks.
Put in that context, just how you said it, I never shared the vision with Katie.
Yeah. And so what?
And then Dawn, and that's new. So, but I just, all right, I get it. Here's what we're looking to achieve. So
now you go to, because just go read, look at it. If you want a cheat sheet, all of you, because you all have access to the booklet, and I will upload, the one that we use. I don't know if Laura's on the call, but we will upload the latest TRC book, and I'm going to do edits to it so that it's a model booklet. It's not just for an event. But now look what happens. I never did this, right? So now you go to the leadership. Who weren't you, that you now have to become? And so all of a sudden, the thing to implement is I have to be more of a communicative leader to the people at the core of the company, as well as the agents like my brother. I have to communicate with them better than I do. So what vehicles for meetings don't I use? What commitment to, what do we talk about at the conference? The minimum frequency for testing things is probably a week, right? What minimum weekly meeting am I not doing to constantly communicate where this vision, where are we at, and where we're going? I just had this conversation one-on-one with Chris Egan this morning. How can you expect to bring people in and not constantly remind them where you're going? There's no leadership, right? Yeah, we're kind of headed over there to that beautiful sunset, right? It's just, what do people belong to as a need at that moment in time? A captainless ship. And that's why people turn over and leave. They're silently begging to be led. They were attracted to you in the beginning because you've got this organized business, and then all of a sudden you abandon ship at the helm. Make sense?
Yes, it does.
It's dang
Clear.
simple. It's dang simple too, because all you have to do is have this infographic in front of you, have the booklet that you just finished, and just don't make it a big deal. That's what I was trying to say. Don't be naive and make it a big deal and esoteric. It's extremely specific now. Extremely. We're following a plan here, and it's getting more and more and more concise for all of us. That's what I'm trying to say. Whether you were a team owner, leader, or whatever in that room, you should have walked away with an understanding that there is a clear plan that's simple, that's being, brought out by this group. When you said, I want us all on the same page, I'm going to say, amen. I thought you meant all of us, right? Because it should be all of us, right? That's what it should be. It should be all of us on the same franchise prototype plan. Now, the only thing that differs is you're in Arizona and the price ranges are different, the neighborhoods are different, right? But other than that, why isn't this just a very clear way how to fix that problem that you just stated? Everybody has it, by the way. Yeah, cool?
Yep.
There you go. All right, next epiphany. We'll do a couple more. Somebody else that was
Hey, Danny Fahad.
Go ahead, Fahad.
Hey, okay. So I realized that in the manager section of this diagram, your chart, the strategic conversion plan, that's where I really need to work, and also the strategic past client plan. But I think more so immediately the conversion plan, because I was kind of relying on whatever the automation that we had set up, and then when I dived into it, and Ida helped open up my iSoft and look into it, it's like things are not connected properly. I'm not even going in there and realizing what's happening. I mean, I realized that my seller, leads, I mean, they weren't even getting certain campaigns sent to them, and I'm not following up. And I think that was a big eye opener that I need to be in this a lot more. That would dramatically change my business by getting in there. So that was that. Yeah. And then as far as that pyramid for the, what was it? The needs pyramid.
Yes.
I mean, I think with the people that I work with, I've gone up to the 4th level, the esteem. I don't think we've reached the self-actualization. So I have the first 3 and 4 levels covered with them, but that's kind of where we're at. Yeah. So I need to go up one more level.
It's interesting you should say that, because I think ultimately one of the things that, is at the core of attraction for the expansion module with agents, and why my avatar is women. I think women are the ideal avatar when they're married with kids and they're intelligent. So they want to feel like they got a return on their education. A lot of these folks are college educated or just self-development gals. So that's, they want to improve. So it's a sweet spot for me. I find that if you want to self-actualize as somebody, self-esteem is I can make it without a man, and I'm worthy of that success. But then as they start to achieve that, they become actualized as a fuller human being, right? Who has contributed to the world. So I think that's where you come back to the pragmatic side of, well, who fits that? Who wants to be empowered by you and your plan, right? And that's how you decide who to focus on. But going back to this management thing, it's interesting that, Grant should open up with vision. And, that's the vision for the business and himself as a better leader. Now you come right down to manager and you realize a deficiency. Oh my gosh, I have this software. I bought it because the entrepreneur knew it needed to be a systems-based business, but who's managing? right? It's sort of like, you're a great visionary for the business. I've said this to you thousands of times. Most people don't know our body of work when we first started. You understood the value of content marketing and major website presence and all that before anybody did. And it was stunning that you knew it all. But then to go down into the management level and to see that you've completely set it up and abdicated responsibility, that's like going down. That's like the captain saying, oh, let me go back down into my engine room, only to find out there's nobody managing the engine room. Follow? I mean, marketing, right? Because marketing and conversion are it's sort of like the two pistons that are going opposed to each other, up and down, cranking the wheel, right? They go up and down, up and down, up and down, and they're cranking the wheel. And that makes the propeller go. And nobody's down there managing it. So I'm not saying it's not working to a certain extent, but it's not intentional. So, it burns out a little bit and it stops a little bit and everybody wonders what happens. Well, it's just not being managed. That's all. So it becomes easy, right? Make sense?
Yeah.
Yeah. So excellent. I think that's an excellent conclusion. Next, who else? Just an epiphany from this.
Hi, Danny.
Hi, Gail. How you feeling?
Well, I was up all night coughing. That's why I texted you at 4:30. I knew I had to sleep. I'm feeling so much better, but coughing all the time. So
Dean did that to you.
I don't know what happened.
Dean did that to you. Dean did it. He coughed all over you when he was hugging you.
I don't want to hear it. I don't want to hear it. Don't want to hear it.
Well, I rarely get sick. I mean, but it's one of those things. I'm still pushing through it. Thanks, Dean. I've always known it, but sitting down, there's only the basics, right, Danny? We're just drilling down a little bit more.
Sure.
And I'm going to go to Kelsey's guy and have him set up my past client module in Infusionsoft like yours. So then I'll have that in there. What I said at the meeting at the round table was that sometimes I'll just push those people to the next day or the next week or whatever. And the next thing you know, it's been 6 months. I keep pushing them back. And there's something inside of me, a belief system, like it's really not worth it. I should just start, I'm the lead squirrel, right? Let me go back to calling the people. So I think I've made a dent in my belief system, that part that you said we had to do.
Yep.
And I'm doing that.
Yep.
And so I'm taking action and I'm changing the way that I'm thinking. And that's one of the things.
Well,
I got a lot more, but
yeah. Well, what I think is interesting about it is that, when you get into this whole past client plan, the real question is, it's the number one accelerant to the business, but you have to separate it out from all these other things. And it turns out, again, it's a big rock in the jar thing. I mean, Lena Chu, and Dennis have a very successful business that they heard her talk about these, this ideal avatar for these investors who just trust her and the math. And so she created these are past clients because once they did one deal. And then you just look at it and say, my gosh, you're a financial advisory to real investors, but yet you don't continue to put the open sign in front of them. And the open sign is that past client newsletter that goes out at least quarterly, mailed to them, that says still open for business, still open for business. And it's the easiest thing in the world to do because in this group, when somebody says, I don't know if it was Cantu or somebody said at one point in time, I just want to be able to go to the central hub and say, what vendor do we use for this, right? And that was the whole thing. And so you just go to that vendor and you say, this is the approved vendor for the TRC franchise prototype. We've got them down. It doesn't mean that we wouldn't challenge them. It doesn't mean that there's others. Like I said to Dean this morning, stop dinging around with, Design Pickle when we have MRG who executes this plan. It's already done. It's a franchise, right? So I think it's the same thing like you just said. We have an approved vendor for campaigns that go into Infusionsoft. Go hire them. And quite frankly, what's already built in mine is it should be as easy as a copy and just a redo for your own account, for the auto stuff. So again, the idea is you shouldn't walk away having this burden of this is going to be really difficult to do because I'm going to have to break off this huge Why? The big rocks are stupid simple, and there's approved vendors to put them in place. That's what I want out of this. I want your life easy, because if you can execute the plan, like to Fahad's point, the most singularly complicated piece that we have is conversion. Now, the only place that I have it personally is in Infusionsoft, but I have an approved vendor who might be able to put it into other things, and he is, like he did for Will Daly. He's putting it into, a different software for him. But it's still the principles of, do we have somebody that can do it for us, right? And so I think that's exactly the right conclusion. So good for you. I think it's great.
Thank you.
All right, one more, and then I'm going to the websites. One more. Somebody that was there, give me a little epiphany.
Hey, Danny.
Hi, Paul. Go ahead.
I think my big epiphany was that as diligent as I can be getting on, I would say probably 90% of these calls, if not more, each week.
Yep.
Nothing compares to being in the room with the same people you're on the phone with, interacting with them face to face, listening to them, having some laughs, masterminding. It's so incredibly powerful and different. And for me, and I know for a couple of people that I hung out with a lot over the weekend, it was literally the perfect time, because we were all like, I wouldn't say meandering, but it was just the perfect time. A reset completely, and intentional ideas to bring back and put into place immediately to make some immediate changes that will affect our businesses and our personal lives greatly if we implement them, like I said, immediately.
Yeah.
So I just think being there with all these people is a very good thing for us.
Yeah. And, and I appreciate that comment, because it wasn't easy to wrap my head around being responsible as a guide as to what I felt obligated to deliver in the room. But, I should have just trusted the process before too, that we had a really good process we had started to hammer out. It's extremely effective. You can hear it already in what you all are saying, that it's challenging you to push to the point where you're forcing yourselves a new perspective. Grant said it as an entrepreneur. Fahad said it as a manager. Gail said it as a manager, right down to a level. You said it as a visionary. That's that entrepreneurial level, to say, I got to reset this. And that's leadership. You and Grant tended right into the leadership piece of it that says, look, I can't feel like I'm on an island here. Hey, Jules, sorry, working with my bride here today. So the point is that as you go into this leadership moment, you see, Paul, that you recognize we feel like we're on an island often, and it's the loneliest place in the world. And there's not many people out there where you can be in a safe environment, you're not being sold. And so I get it now. I get that we have to have a sprint for 12 months, and you should never want to show up to that. You should feel obligated to show up to it, number one, as a responsible leader, manager. But number two, you should almost be scared and shaking in your boots about thinking about 12 months from now, if you don't execute a simple plan, you're going to show up feeling the same way that you were. And that's unacceptable to me, right? For myself. When I show up into that.
Can I just add one thing?
Yeah, Lee, go.
Yeah. Also, since we've all cozy with each other now, and we've seen each other to participate on the calls, so that when we can build to the mastermind meeting. I think that's going to help everything. And whether you think you have something important to say or not, participate.
Well, I think there's always been that little down the end of your nose look that we had from some insecure people in the past, that well, I'm better than them, or I'm bigger. Man, I got to tell you, it was such a thrill to have a couple of agents in the room, and I know Cantu's shooting to have more of his next year. I really felt like having the addition of Kate and Meg from my team was really important, and because it keeps.
So Dan, talking from the bleachers here, Sonia.
Yeah.
I agree. It was awesome to sit at the table with them.
Yeah.
And I'm one of the people that Paul was talking about doing a recess.
Yep.
This last weekend was absolutely huge for me. I needed it so bad. Timing was impeccable.
Yeah.
I'm exhausted. Yesterday was a long travel day.
Yeah.
Didn't sleep much, but being on these calls and getting off the bleachers moving forward. So I just wanted to be
Good.
heard.
Awesome. Yeah, no, I love it.
Yeah.
Well, because I think Lee's right. Lee has already always carried this piece of the mastermind where, and he does it in a loving, bullying way, I say. And I want him to. I want this group to be self-policed. I got to tell you how powerful it is because you don't see what I see. Let me tell you something that happened yesterday. The O'Connors, who unfortunately were not there because they had a family event, on their one-on-one, and they have a very difficult job. They have to do 200 plus deals in rural Wisconsin to do what they need to do. So they're swallowed up by unbelievably difficult mechanics to keep things in line. But yet, because the body of work has this way of traveling through the ether, he said to me something that came out of the room. So not even being in there, I think you all underestimate what Napoleon Hill says in his books. If you listen to Think and Grow Rich, he talks about ideas traveling through the ether, let alone intentionally on weekly calls, and what I share with you. He said to me, so what you're saying, or I realize that expansion, you can expand by just focusing on your own book first. I said, I can't even believe you said that because you weren't in the room. But yet it travels through this ether of this powerful mastermind. And he's exactly right. And it's exactly what we said. Expansion is not about agents. Stop bailing out. Expansion is about trying to learn how to leverage your own book of business in the context of your enterprise. And then when that's stable, you're going to be more open to the other conversation. So you're right. You're not there yet because you haven't leveraged your own book, but you will be. And your expansion right now is in your own book. So that's the power of the mastermind, Sonia. It extends. But if somebody gets locked in OCD fear or self-image fear and they don't speak up because they think it's silly, they don't give the group an opportunity to ground themselves in a basic. Let me just tell you, the biggest group in the room was the gang from Canada, and they have a staff of inside sales. But yet the same problem that their inside sales agents had was identical to what any principal trying to build their business has, which is making an offer that converts. And that's what Thursday's call will be about. We have to walk this assembly line now and say, are we making offers that convert? Sonia, that's as relevant to a new agent who would come to the Griffin Realty Group as it is to a mega team, with 4 or 5 inside salespeople. You see what I'm saying? So this insecurity that everybody's so much smarter than me, that's on you. If you can't, not you personally, that's on a human being. If you can't get over that, how will you ever grow anything, right? You have to get over this intellectual insecurity, the self-image problem. And that's why I always highly recommend the very first thing everybody should do, no matter where they're at, is listen to the audio book, the new Psycho Cybernetics on audio, so that you understand there's a bag of tools. And I gave you some more in the book, right? To attach to this bigger version of yourself, right? A minus B equals C. What are your unique abilities and who was around you when you were using them to get the optimal result? When you saw Anita in the back of the room light up like a Christmas tree, talking about how she was wonderful.
That was awesome.
Right? It was an incredible moment. 3 women got chosen by British Airways out of India. 3 out of 22,000. And so all we have to do is dig in and say, well, what were you doing? Well, I was driven and I was determined and wonderful. Who was around you? The supportive environment that wanted to hire these women. Wonderful. Now you have your formula, right? So you should never shrink back in any group or any situation. So I was proud of, especially all the women in the room. I just was very proud of everybody. I think it was great. So bravo. All right, here we go. Let's go to work. Dean, we had a question.
Yes, sir.
This sense of place came up, and it was a real good debate in the room. And so, Paul, you're in here with me. Corey, you're in here with me. 3 people that I was just dealing with this with today. There's definitely, and Egan was on his one-on-one. So the point is that I think the sense of an office is extremely important. And oftentimes you won't expand and leverage yourself with, say, just a telemarketer, for example, definitely agents, if there's not a place. If you work from home and that's all you do, you will probably shrink back from feeling, adequate, or you'll have the imposter syndrome. Who am I? I just work from my house. Well, great, then deal with it. Deal with it. Make it very important to have an office space in the avatar geographically where you do your business. You have to have a place. And that's a big deal. I had a place. I wanted to change the place. We have the place. And as we expand, we need a bigger, more beautiful one to really pick a bigger fight. But my point in the room was, I'm not going to rush to it. I'm just going to get there first. So I think the very first thing is physically, and Dean, you do it. Paul, you're already there with beautiful space. But here's where you just can't be naive in the digital age. You must have a website that offers a really strong sense of space. Now, again, I have a dog in the hunt because this is my company now. And the reason I ended up in the business is because I got sick and tired of somebody else's idea of what that space should be and how formulaically it should work. So just the simple properties of this for somebody looking to this vision, Grant, here we go. You're looking out towards this vision. And so where is your office? Where is your website becomes the 1-2 punch. I just talked about these two pistons that will drive it. So this sense of space is driven by a physical location, even if it's just a nest, but it's a really good high-end nest in a high-end location, and it costs you what you can afford. And then this website becomes critical. I just scratched my head that here we are well into this, and if this is lost on people. And I get why you've been conditioned to think website is just something that you did for leads. Well, you're wrong. And your major competitors have a better sense of space than you. And so when it comes to this, Dean, you and I talked about this. Number one is impression. When I arrive out in front of your building, or I arrive out in front of this space, I give it about 7 seconds to judge. Now in Osterville, because of the type of space that we took, the most important thing was to spend extra money on the sign, which we made look like an oversized version of our real estate sign. And then we put an arrow so that they could see we were upstairs, and we landscaped around it. And then even though I don't have access to park in the driveway because the retail store does down, I buffed the whole place up for her so that there was a sense of professional space immediately. And then upstairs, since autumn's come on, she and Laura have done a wonderful job professionalizing the interior. We put new carpet. We painted the whole place when we first went in. We have our professional cubbies that we have. We have a nice big table, but they've done a nice job making it home. Okay. So now we've checked the box there. Now, when somebody sees that, or they see a sign, or they see an expired letter sequence come through, they get to go and vet us. That's what they get to go and do. And so the WordPress sense of space was because why? Google loves WordPress, and they can find me. Okay, so the very first thing is the sense of being findable. And Paul, this is what I was just texting you and showing you, that when I go try to find you, certain things happen. The next thing is, if we don't do anything else on Google pay-per-click, it's to come over and make ourselves findable on that sense of space. So when we decide that website, I'm not even in the half of it about websites and who's going to find you, but the most important thing is to come now into these campaigns and say, what are the things that we really need to do? Okay. And I'm going to show you that I had put some stuff on hold, where we were, but now I have to go back in and say, okay, the most important thing to recognize, let me see if I can find it here on the fly. The most important thing to recognize in the back end here is I need to be findable by my name, because in the beginning, this small business is all about your name, even if it has a name. Like, for example, Will Daly's wonderful brand, We Know Urban, it's still Will Daly, the founder of We Know Urban. So you have to end up playing both of those. Everybody with me so far that I've got my hot seat, my 3 people? Corey, I know you're here for supplementation of the technical side. But Paul and Dean, you with me?
Yep.
Yeah? Come on, guys. Give me an enthusiastic.
Yeah.
All right, cool.
Take the note and mute. Sorry.
Okay, it's okay. So keep.
Danny, I can't find the webinar.
I can't either.
You can't?
It's not on the Facebook page.
I'm on it.
Yeah, it's there. It's the
Go
same.
to meeting, right?
It's the same one. Hang on. It's the same one that it
You gotta
always is. So let me go there. Hang on. Go ahead, Dean. What are you saying? Dean, think out loud. Come on.
I'm gonna bookmark that page.
I said you got to bookmark that page. It never changes.
Yes, correct. I will take care of that maintenance thing.
Oh, I didn't know that. I thought it was the new link every time. That's why I was looking for the new. I can easily find an old one. Yeah.
Yep. Just bookmark all 3 days and it'll be there. But I'll take care of that right now, so we don't have this problem. Come on. Nobody's coming for you. See the headline?
Danny, you have new glasses.
No, these are ugly replacements from the other ones. I had these there. I got to get some sexier ones. These are awful.
I like them.
Trying to keep up with you.
Okay.
Stop pandering, Gil.
Woo, come on. What is with this, man? This is like the gerbil is dead here today. Okay, I'm done. There it is. It's being posted. Coming back. All right, now, all of these things that I have tested in the back end of Google pay-per-click, this is another intentional management moment for all of you that delegate away what you do. Okay, if you do Sync or Market Leader or Boomtown or this thing or that thing, like the gang up in Canada too, they had a huge discovery here and they talked about it, right? Sarah Corey talked about this, that this was just a blind item for them on a prime seller leads, right? Or bold leads. Nobody knew what anybody was saying. And in Canada, they were making promises that they couldn't back up. So I have gone and tested all sorts of stuff. But here's one right here that I called brand awareness, okay? So let's go in here. Now, the most important thing to understand, guys, the two of you, is the ads and extensions. And the best marketers, okay? The best marketers are saying that they think this is a no-brainer, that they also started and stopped. Now, look what this says. Griffin Realty Group, Danny Griffin, the Griffin.co. Griffin Realty Group, and there's two of them that run, okay? Now, when I was screwing around with all this other stuff, my own management ADD got in the way. So you're going to watch me go in there and start this again, okay? But you're going to see me first go, well, what do you mean? I'm not going to wait for just SEO. I'm going to go in here, which I tested some keywords and say, if somebody Googles me, okay, Boston real estate agents and all this stuff, I don't necessarily need that stuff. I'll leave it or I'll come back to it. How about this? I just walk the walk. Watch this. I'm going to pause these keywords for now. And I'm just going to go in here and say, at bare minimum, every single person in this franchise prototype mastermind should come down and say, what is my name and what is the name of my company? And those should be your keywords, period. And this is for brand awareness or findability, whatever you want to call it, okay? Now, this is going to need to go somewhere. So this is a huge issue. Where is this going to go? Where do you want it to go? So these links, as I pop on one of them, right? This is simply going to go to the main page. Or I could have gone to what, Dean? What? Dean? Come on, Dean. Come on, man.
Sorry, I'm muting you. So
No,
you
don't mute me.
listen to
Don't
coughing,
mute me.
right?
You cough and you birds. Don't mute me. I don't
Nobody
care.
needs to-
I don't care.
I never mute.
Yep, thank you. So
You
here's
didn't do
the
that at the meetings, Anna.
here's the deal. Here's the deal. This Griffin Realty Group is the home page. So what I need is that ad went there. Now, the adjustment would be if I wanted to bring it to what page, Dean?
The about.
You got it.
Blog
The blank about page.
Yeah, the blank about page is exactly right. Now, at least when I beat Cantu up today earlier about website and where it goes, I found there's some guy that's what is he, Paul, again? We just took pictures of him. What is he? He's a thrift guy?
I have no idea what you're talking about because I have not looked at my own market leader site probably a dozen years. I don't use it.
Nope, it's not even that,
That's not
dude.
where- that's not
No,
where-
you're missing.
That's not where I direct people at all.
You're missing you don't direct it anywhere when I searched it. That's the point. So the point is, unintentionally, here's what comes up when I Google Paul Cantu. I'm the motherfucking.
Oh, I know that.
Hold on, let me yell it out
Yeah,
loud.
I know
I'm
that.
the motherfucking thrift god. Is that what you want people to see when they see your name?
No, but I think that most people, in all honesty, if I can
No.
disagree with you, wouldn't type in my name. They would type in Paul Cantu Real Estate.
You haven't checked.
I would type in Danny Griffin.
Dude, hold on, dude. You haven't checked the box. You're fighting me. Okay, so I'll bite. And I'll go here too.
I'm not fighting.
I'll bite. I'll bite.
I'm respectfully disagreeing with you.
I'll bite.
I don't want to fight.
I'll bite. You're wrong. I'll bite. Paul Cantu, Zillow, out of your control completely. Not your website. If I'm an agent vetting you after you've invited me to join you, you want me on Zillow? You want me on now I went here because there was an about page. So I'm finally like, okay, finally, bravo. Here we go. Realtor.com though, HomeSnap, HomeLight, finally LinkedIn. Okay. But still no sense of space. You can fight me all you want. You guys would be wrong. You'd be wrong. You have to have a place that they can arrive at, that you are saying, this is my business, because you don't know what they're typing, who they're typing. So you have to guess and hit it down the middle. You have to have your name as a keyword and your company as a keyword so that you don't guess like you just did. So you have to be intentional. That's all I'm trying to make. I don't want to get in a debate. I'm not interested.
No, well, what I'm saying is I don't have a Google ad campaign for the site I currently use, which is my Think site, which is searchforhomesinseattle.com. I do actually. They do. So so that comes up on the paid results pretty often on the first page or second page, depending on the time of day, I guess. But no, I mean, I don't have a Google page. I don't have a personal Google ad campaign that I'm managing for my site right now. No, I do not have that.
Correct.
I haven't done that in like 10 years.
Or a website that properly displays the entirety of your company. I'll go back to the website. Corey, here I go. Dean, here I go. Okay. The idea that I was frustrated with was that there is no full-blown website out there that is a full depiction of who we are and what we do. Okay. At the bare minimum, I got 7 seconds to prove I can compete with people. So I've got the sizzle reel, okay? I've got the sizzle reel. And just to be in the game with any website, new beginnings start here, search all MLS listings, okay? So when they come there, I can put anything I want on this video to explain to them. Very quickly, explore our neighborhoods. The intent is that we cover Boston, Cape Cod. I've got the pictorial of exactly where they are, with their name, simple. There's no guessing. You get what we do. And I'm pigeonholing you into that. And I'll give you a little bit of what you want, pictures of this, period. Next, seller comes to me. We already know the seller avatar is the #1 avatar. Where is my property going to be featured? Or I'm deciding to use you or not because you sent me some marketing materials. I saw some marketing materials, so I'm going to go check you out. So I'm going to now go to properties. I'm going to see featured listings and I'm going to vet you. Do you do the type of properties that I am, right? Do you do them? So now I come down here and I start to look at all this stuff. And I look. And remember, only a couple of years ago, I didn't have this kind of resume. Now we do. Slowly but surely, we built the resume up and we start to back off some of the stuff that we have, right? So in other words, if we had some stuff and it didn't work out or whatever, we start to keep tweaking this. Now we get into solds, so resume. So I get a quick vetting on my own site, not somebody else's. I am controlling the experience, okay? So I've hit 3 points. 1, I was found findable without thinking about SEO. SEO will happen, but I was findable because I went over here and made this an intentional campaign, okay? You two guys have me? You with me?
Yep.
Okay, so I made it super, super easy to be found. That's all, right? So when I come over here now, I just want to, go through here and just, take a look at the campaign and make sure it's active, which is just, it's a simple campaign that says, I just want to be active, right? That's all I want to be. I want to be active for brand awareness. So I go back to all campaigns and I go to my brand awareness and I look at my stupid, simple, low budget, which I stopped while I could digest everything. I scroll down to it. All this testing to find out one stupid thing as a manager. Did I just go flying by it? That I come here and I turn it on for a lousy $1.50 a day. I'm back in the game, right? That's it. That's all there is to it. I come back up here and I'm like, this YouTube test with Hathaway being out there, 58 clicks and stuff, I'll leave it alone. That's one of my 1.2. So we'll leave it alone. We'll go back and look at that, right? We'll check that out later. But the singularly most important leadership and business vision thing is, hey, Grant, I got a vision for my business and it kind of looks like this. Now, can anybody even find me? Do I make them jump through 3 hoops, or do I make it stupid easy that anybody in the United States looking, by the way, Paul, to refer me, to vet me for a referral, can they find me across the United States? Maybe your Canadian friends have somebody moving down. See where I'm coming from? It's just like check the box. It's not about a website yet. But when they get to the website, does that very ad, and maybe I need brand awareness name, of my individual name, and brand awareness for the Griffin Realty Group, so they go to different pages. If you're looking for Griffin Realty Group, you might need the home page. If you're looking for Danny, you might even need his agent page or the about page, right? But I got to bring them into my world, not Zillow's, not Realtors, not this one, not that, all those IDX sites, right? Their only intent is to get you leads. They put some of this other stuff up there as a guess. Now, okay, I've covered all that. You were complaining to me about landing pages. It takes literally seconds on my website to put together a landing page, because on the back end of this thing, all I have to do is insert the video from a player and voila, I have it. That's all I had to do. That's all I had to do. So the call to action, the offer that converts is up there and I'm ready to go. So they know if they want a property evaluation, they can listen to me. All the MLS listings are there. Same thing, right? I go to MLS listings and instant access to all that stuff is there. Now, here's a biggie. Agents, okay? Agents. If I'm thinking about becoming a member of this company, can I go and check out what they do for their agents? And again, it is a free agent website. So you go to your sync site. Where are your agent sites? Where are they? They don't exist. But here is what's in it for my number one avatar, and her name is Kate, okay? My number one avatar. The most important client I have, he was in the room with you all, Kate Nadolski. So we have to put her up in lights, looking good, instantly. And we have to pay attention to her active properties, her sold properties, her about page, all this stuff. We have to constantly look at all this stuff and fix it, right? And make sure it looks good. So that's what we're working on right now, trying to fix it. Why is her head cut off? Why is this? But we have all of the components that most businesses that are worth their salt have, and we're surpassing them by learning the game. If you can't do that, then you don't have a vision for a business that really can be expanded. Grant, you with me on that?
I'm with you.
Yeah, because you've already gone.
And as I watch this and think, I have some of the pieces and parts here.
Yep, exactly right. That's why I'm bringing you in too, because you went, took the Realty Cast site, started to put the content in. And that's why I was saying, poor Lee had a little bit, he's got the worst MLS in the world. It turns out one of the challenges with doing all this is that you have to have an MLS that's easy to work with, and it's not so easy all the time. But we work through it. We fight through it. You got to rant and rave no matter whether it's your MLS or it's a vendor. You have to be intentional about knowing what's happening. So there is the best I can do for you two guys to tell you. The reason why you were interested in this in the beginning was because of this. The reason why it's atrophied and nothing has happened is because you're disconnecting this from the sense of space and a critical component of your business vision. And Paul, I know where it stems from. You're not even connected to the agent piece of it. You can't be just the Pied Piper of agents. There needs to be a plan that they understand. Grant, you had it right. Everybody needs to communicate this. I need to communicate it better to you all, and you all need to communicate it better to yourself and your future self 12 months from now, and then communicate it to the people that you want to plug in and play the game worth playing. That's it. There's nothing more to it than that. But if we're sitting here like naive Digital business people, you'll get smoked. You'll get smoked. You're losing business without even knowing you're losing business. Yeah, got it?
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
All right. Now,
Dial this in.
yeah, now let me go to Corey's end of this. Once the basics of a website are put up, and it's called content, this is content marketing, that flashy video, all these neighborhood pictures and the content beneath them that we pull in, it's all content. However, now the sense of always being this moving business, here's another thing none of you are really attached to. Fahad came out of the box hot and then lost his way because of other things. The idea of a blog is that it is the news feed. Everything that Dean wanted to do by interviewing restaurateurs in the villages and all that is fine, but it needs to be housed somewhere. So, Dean, my challenge to you and Corey was, Corey, this is not rocket science for you, by the way. You've seen this thousands of times. But all the work that you're doing with him that's more sophisticated than me sitting in my basement, these all become pieces of content that are housed on the blog. And if I can just hit the basic 5 steps a month, okay, and in my case, I do 2 of these, 2 market updates, a month for Boston and Cape Cod, and a weekly tip. Now, all of a sudden, I have this stuff rolling, and look what's over on the right-hand side. I added these right before the conference. If you come here and you look at a piece of content, okay, let's say you go into the piece of content, you roll into a piece of content, I am my own advertiser. What's your property really worth? Why are you searching yourself? Get our free this, free seller course, free buyer course. I just fall forward and I'm my own advertiser based around content. So if you come here and you just watch this, right? And then I'll start to put in the body of it downloads. I'll just keep going. And now I'm going to hire a writer to write some stuff weekly about what's happening in these certain areas. So you see, it builds upon itself. So the core group of stuff here is like done. Anybody using this plug and play TRC based site has all these things. It hardly takes any work to fill the content up and connect MLS unless there's an MLS problem. And then every week you can have somebody put this shit together for you. And we have approved vendors that we like, right? Just really easy. All right, boys, questions, because I put you in the hot seat on that.
I got to do it.
Corey, I asked you on here.
Like I said to you earlier today.
Corey, I asked you on here so you could kick him in the tail. Here you guys are creating professional grade stuff, and he houses it on everybody else's land, just like I just proved to Paul. His business is housed on everybody else's land, and that includes an IDX site whose only intent is leads. Corey, any thoughts?
I thought you cut out there for a second. Yeah, no, absolutely. Everything gets mostly put up on Instagram and Facebook, but I definitely see the benefit for stuff like this being on the actual website.
Yeah, because now what's the reason for all the content you're doing, right? To build audience.
Building the brand.
Yeah, to build audience, to convert them to money. Period. Otherwise, we've gone insane. Otherwise, we're just hobbyists. Otherwise, all of a sudden, the podcast is just a hobby. I mean, you don't know any intentional person who does, let's go here. These guys I've been watching, these guys and this guy, and there's a different sense of brand, but they're both wildly successful. Let me just put it super fast business. Let me show you, when you look outside our business and you learn from people, I mean, you'll watch pop-ups start to happen and everything. I mean, I'll go there for a second. Like, here you go. And they have a full page pop-up that they're just going to force me, free marketing tool cheat sheet. Okay. So as we go and we start to go to the homepage, what if we did a pop-up that covers the whole page and says, look, free, and it doesn't have to be on a homepage like them because they're info marketers, but what if it's on the blog page and something comes up, download one of our free courses. You exit out, it's easy. Then you come over here and you say, okay, their podcast, AKA their blog feed, because you can put it right in your blog feed. You come down here and you take a look at all this stuff that they have. And if I stay here long enough, there's going to be a pop-up, but I'm going to go to one of these things and there's the content, right? It might be recognizing me now. Oh, because, yeah, here it is. Are you an Epic member yet? So all these pop-ups start to happen immediately, even before I go for the content, right? And it might seem obtrusive, but the content there was to get me here so that I can see the episode, okay? And then they've got all sorts of ways to have me fall in. So let's not be naive about this. Like I went up here and they can see I'm starting to leave. Pop-up technology sees I'm starting to leave, and so they just pop up the big one. Wait, that's because that's an exit pop-up. They know I'm leaving. So again, if anybody's just going to create content, fine, and that's so you can get vetted. But get vetted on your own dang website first. That's the most important thing, right? Corey, make sense?
Yeah, absolutely.
Dean, make sense?
1,000%.
Right? So here, let me go here. I just looked up my name, and I'm going to tell you how dang tough this fight is, right? So I put Danny Griffin because there's a couple Danny Griffins. One's a soccer player at a major school, Providence College. And so when you get in here, it is there's competition. But I'm at least at the top at the Griffin.co simply because that's the main title of my website, by the way. Okay, so that's not a paid ad. Now you saw me just turn the ad back on, so it'll take a little while to start going. But that's the main ad until I get down to Danny Boy Griffin and all this other stuff. That at least I won the game.
I noticed it switch from when you turned the ad on. I searched your name when you had the ad off and you weren't the first one. And then you turned the ad on and now you're the first one.
There you go. That's the point. That's exactly the point. Is that we simply have to this is SEO, by the way. A lot of you want to know what SEO looks like when it works. There it is. It's a WordPress site. Now, how can I win? How can I win this game? Google is going to love that title of the main site if I do what? If I continue to put a shit ton of content in here. Why do you think Zillow, Lee, you asked me this before. Why do you think Zillow is able to continuously stay at the top of the rankings? Because they work the heck out of SEO by constantly putting in new content. Google wants to see an active website. Why would Google take its clients to an experience that's stale? They wouldn't is the answer. Their robots know it. So I started with 5-6 pieces of content because I do 2 areas like this. The next thing is I am actively looking for a writer to write a weekly update on what's happening, what to do in Back Bay, Beacon Hill over every week. And the same thing, every week for my area, the town of Barnstable. What to do? I'm going to start small. I'll pick the 2 geographies within which I want the most business, and with a bent towards the south side of Barnstable, and a bent towards, Boston being Boston, Back Bay, Beacon Hill. And I'll have a writer write original content about what's happening. There won't be any video. It'll just be something that we become the people that are responsible for updating you on what's happening. And Google loves that game. So if you want to know how SEO works, that's how it works. So you don't know what you don't know. So Paul, that's why I was giving you a hard time this morning. It's like, dude, what? You know what I mean? Like, we're not even in the game yet from a digital business perspective. I was just listening to CNBC and Squawk Box, which I listen to all the time in the car. And some guy was saying every business is in the software business, or should be. Every business. They were trying to make a case for WeWork being in the business, and it's not really true. They're leveraging the crap out of technology and software to bring people to physical space. Same thing for us. So I'm in the software business as Griffin Realty Group, meaning my website is a piece of software that is going to drive the success of my business. And my content upon that software, right, is going to drive its frequency and its relative noticeability from an SEO standpoint. Lee, you with that part of that conversation too? Because you were frustrated about that at one point. You with that?
Yeah, I just Googled my name. I actually came up pretty quick, but under remap.
There's the point. It's not what you want, is it? because it drives them to Remax's site. See, Remax isn't stupid. They know the basics of the game. They take all their agents and index them. I've got a brand new agent who's never sold a property yet with me, and he went to get his bartending job here locally at the 99 restaurant. Lady walks out into the back room and Googles his name. Guess what came up? Griffin Realty Group. She comes out and she goes, "Oh, Danny Griffin, huh?" Because she knows me. Let's see if we can do it.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the point. There it is, right? There it is. So for my agent's name, the SEO for his name is my company. And then the whole page.
You're not updating, Danny.
Oops, sorry, buddy. So here it is, Paul Melchiano, Griffin Realty Group, our agents. And then it goes into all these weird random stuff. But Google's starving for some information, you know, on Melchiano. See what I'm saying? And it's dangerous because look what it does too. It also pulls these other sites, you know, court arrest records by My Life, right? You like background. So you gotta be careful what gets indexed. You got to control this procedure because this is how people vet you. He got vetted at a bartending job, at a restaurant job. That's what it was. Paul can't do any questions about that? Dean, any questions about that?
No, I got one for you about the writer you're hiring. What are you just going to do? Have them search local events that are going on around you and put together kind of a weekly spotlight of what's happening?
Excellent. Ready? Excellent question. And you guys think this is expensive, except when you consider what you spend, you know, waste money on elsewhere. These people just aren't expensive. So if I come in here, let's see if it'll let me in while that goes on. So if I come in here to my account over here and I log into Writers Access, this is, again, one of those technology companies that's a clearinghouse for writers.
I'm not seeing your screen move.
Oh, thank you.
Your screen is not moving.
Gotcha. Okay. So I logged into Writers Access, writeraccess.com, and I come in here and I need to find talent. Okay. I don't like their content, the contests and all that stuff. I know what I want. So I can search writers. So I'll come in here and I'll look at some of this stuff. I don't need it. By the way, I don't need a 6-star. So I'm going to shoot 4-star. Let's see what I get for 4-star. Let's see what we get. We'll come down in here. Construction, consumer goods, education, electronics, fashion, finance, government, green living, green services, hardware, health, high tech, home living, insurance, publishing. See if you see something, Dean, when I'm scrolling that you like, right?
I'm looking for something that says lifestyle or hospitality or entertainment.
I thought there was. Here we go. Hospitality. Okay. So we'll go there. Now this might be a little bit of a stretch. And again, content, we can see in a blog post. Okay. So I'm looking for a blog writer. I want a generalist. By the way, you see the technical writer? So if you wanted to ever do SEO technical stuff, I could put it there, but I'm going to pick generalist because SEO is going to be a requirement too, right? Location. I'm going to look for a Bostonian, or Massachusetts. I don't want an unfamiliarity. This is the same reason why I have telemarketers. So now they got.
That's where I was going. That's where I wanted to go with it because I'm, in some of the stuff I've done with Writer Access in the past, I didn't realize how detailed I could get with the location. I was finding people from all over, and it just didn't sound like my voice.
So I just had to 86 a piece of it, which was hospitality. Got too specific. I'd rather Massachusetts and a generalist, right? So you come over here now, but really, that's not.
Oh yeah, Dean. Danny, I was going to say is that's really important actually that you're doing that because it took me about 4 months and countless writers to figure that out, and now I only hire writers in California, not even just in California, in Southern California only. So they're very familiar with our area.
Yeah.
So they're not guessing it, and also the style, the way we talk, and the way we have, we write. That's all we're hiring. So that's very important. Yep. I was just going to put that in there.
By the way, I am going to do. Thank you, Fahad. Fahad crushed this early on, and this is why I'm kicking him to get back there. But casting calls, okay? So I do need a casting call. Here's what I'm going to do. So you can see this right now. Brian Bagayas is in here for me looking for show notes writer for a real estate podcast. And he's gone 3+ star. We have 26 applicants for show notes writers. Okay. So in other words, they'll listen to the podcast.
Danny, can I chime in one more?
Yeah.
Sorry to interrupt, but one other
Okay.
quick point I was going to say is, so that I like the gal that I have there at Writers Access, Kelly. She was telling me, she told me this a while ago, which is a really big issue. A really good thing is the fact that if you can get cheaper for the same 4 or 5 star writers, whatever you're hiring, cheaper orders if you set up recurring orders. But that doesn't mean that you need to be launching them every week. You can pause them, but you set up a template and you set it up. Because like I logged in about like a month ago, and I started after 6-7 months of not even logging in and doing no orders. I just restarted my paused orders, and they're discounted because the way they treat it is if you have recurring orders, they're encouraging you to do that. So I would have everyone get in, whoever's going to do it, get set up that way, and they can do that for you. So you can pause it. So I have it set up to 4 orders a week, which I've been going out the last 3 weeks. But before that, for 6 months, they were paused, but I'm still getting that preferred pricing.
Awesome. So I'm doing this right in front of you all to show you, like, I'm. By the way, this is expansion that has nothing to do with agents. It says everything to do with a simple website where you start to become the local expert, and you're not going to touch it. You're going to hire somebody for peanuts, and somebody else is going to write it for you. And it's going to be a blog post as if you wrote it. You can have these can be ghostwriters, or you can expose them as the people if you want. If you wanted this person, to show her face, you could do it, right? So, hey guys, somebody's wrestling their mic. Whoop. Hello, somebody's wrestling their mic, guys. Remember, we have live mics here, so just make sure you *6 us if it's live. Okay. Hang on, just had to mute a few mics. Okay. So coming back here, this is what I'm telling you. Looking for a lifestyle writer to curate and write original, right?
Wait, back up. I thought you said you didn't do the casting call.
I just did. Sorry, my bad. I don't have time to go in there and kind of hand pick it, so I'm going to do the casting call. Looking for a lifestyle writer to curate and write original blog posts for real estate website. Let's do this. Let's go in here and let's grab the blog. Oh, it's there, right? No, let's go back to the blog. Let's go here so that they see what it looks like. So give them a little flavor for it. There you go. Suggest the price. Pitch me price.
Don't submit yet. Go back to the top. Let me just see what you wrote.
Yeah.
Because I'm literally copying you as we go.
Yeah, good. You should. It's called the franchise prototype. That's what we're supposed to be doing, is helping each other be the McDonald's brothers and Ray Kroc all at once. Local events writer for Boston and Cape Cod area weekly events. Looking for a lifestyle writer to curate and write original blog posts for a real estate website. Okay. You got it?
Yep.
Boom. Done. And that's that easy. So now you can see me in here working the expansion module for both of my businesses. Originally, one of the things you all screwed around with that, started the RealtyCast website is you wouldn't hire somebody to do a quick, neighborhood write-up. Well, what do you mean a neighborhood write-up? Well, if I go back here, the very core thing that says is, well, what neighborhoods in Seattle do you cover? What neighborhoods in Long Island do you cover? Well, I cover Back Bay. Okay. So we had the picture that we just bought, right? And then what we started to do was we started with all this stuff. So we're trying to see, I think we have it. Yeah, here it is. So overview of Back Bay. So there's the write-up. So if somebody comes here, that's a piece of content that was written by a writer for me. I didn't write this. I edited it. Some of it I didn't like, and that's why, like what Fahad was saying, And we pushed it down because what they really wanted when they come here. Now, by the way, we're talking about what to do up here because that's where we want an offer. So one of the other things that we're going to do is we're going to say, click the button. Okay, remember this guy was all over me. He wants the cheat sheet, right? But he's got a companion offer. You want the notes? I learned it from here. You want the companion to this offer? Download the companion cheat sheet. Well, all of a sudden I come back here and scratch my head and go, yeah, why don't I put something here that says download the PDF to this month's sold properties in Back Bay? So instead of asking for an opt-in that's weird and generic, download, complete the MLS sheet with this and that. And then that way you suck them in, and then you make a pop-up offer right after it. What's the pop-up offer? Why are you searching by yourself when we could automate this for you? Would you like us to set up an automated concierge level search direct from MLS so you continue to get this? Here's a live sampling of it, just like you do in an open house. It's the same damn thing. There you go, right? So this was intentionally left open so I could think through it and say, that's what we need. But the writer wrote the other stuff. And so now what do you do, Dean? You know what we're doing now? Now we're saying, as they write the articles, can we tag it so it not only shows up in the main blog, but it shows up in a blog here where we make the offer up here, download, we'll make the offer in the top, download the latest sold properties from this month in the Back Bay, and below it will be the latest news, what's happening in Back Bay, and we can attach our blog articles to it. So we can become this unbelievable resource. Yeah, thank you. Was that that sexy whistle? Was that what that was? Who did that?
Yeah, it was. That is real slick.
Come on, brother. You think we're playing? You think we're playing the B leagues here? I'm in it to win it.
Yeah, no way.
I'm in it to win it, right? That's what this is about. So if you don't,
the news station here's some real estate to go along with the news.
You better believe it. We will hijack everything that people consume, and we will be the place to go to get your information. And you won't even realize it's a real estate company when you start that way. But man, once you get in there, you ain't getting out. It's like the mob, right? So and it's not expensive. It's not expensive. Nobody, he said, is thinking like this strategically in real estate. Stop following the damn herd and thinking that an MLS IDX driven website is a frickin' website. It is not. It's nothing more than properties and somebody else running a Google pay-per-click at whatever cost and whatever they have to say to get you names of people that may or may not ever be converted, right? I would rather get traffic and be just the dominant brand, the software technology company first. If you're not thinking like that, then you're losing a competitive advantage that is available instantly. Make sense?
Yes, it does. I'm going to have to watch this again. I missed the part where you're talking about the writer and, and having somebody write lifestyle pieces.
Right here. So you just, over in writeraccess.com, I'm hiring a writer for a variety of things, okay? Not the least of which is real estate website. Now, for Dean, he's running a business show as part of his news feed. You see, Dean, Corey, of all people, you guys are Vaynerchuk people. What did he say long ago? You must be a what company? A what company? What? One word.
Media.
Yes. Yes. You must be a media company. You cannot be a media company without a media platform. How about that? That's all this is. This is listening. This is listening to these people and doing what they suggest we do. This is it, manifesting in front of you. Slow and steady. Nobody goes from good to great fast, said Jim Collins, said I at the conference. This is what it looks like as it continues to evolve. I am a media company at the Griffin Realty Group. I have media for my agents. I have media for my writers. I have media. I'm media, 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 media. And that's how Google loves you. So if Google starts driving you there, Lee, we don't even have to try to compete with Zillow and Realtor.com. We can drive them in through other lanes and then still get them. You follow? And we go hyper local. David with a stone and a sling starts to write about every major event in Back Bay, and people who are thinking lifestyle click on those lifestyle articles. Dean, you were close. I mean, you can still go out and interview people. Guess what happens when the writer writes about events? What do other people still do when they're hungry in an area? They want the what? The top 10 restaurants in Back Bay.
That's exactly where I was thinking was if we get the writing done up front, it'll lead us into opportunities to get in the door of these other places to produce that secondary level content, which is the actual physical media stuff as opposed to just the words.
Watch
so
this.
We can use it to leverage with them to build those relationships.
Watch
Saying,
this.
Hey, we've been promoting you anyway. Why don't you let us in?
Dude, watch this. Watch this. You want to hijack the marketing for a restaurant? You go to Yelp and watch this. Watch how I'm going to do this. I'll be transparent. Okay. Top 10 restaurants. Okay. I'm going to go here. I'm going to back. Oops. I want to back this up. Top 10 restaurants. I don't want Boston. I want to go hyper local. In Beacon. Watch how easy it will be for my writer. I don't need my writer to think. I need my writer to do. Okay? So now I've got some Google rankings here. So according to Google rankings, I could go here, right? So if I go more places, let's take a look at Google's rankings, okay? And I come over here and my filters, see the ads, we got to cut out the ads. But if I go here, Dean, at least I have, do you see how to rate, I guess it's going from top down. Does it look like it's going top down? Yeah. Okay. So instantly, that's called curating. What I just did was went to the internet and curated the answer to the question. So now all I have to do is have a writer say, I want you to write one evergreen list. Top 10 restaurants in Beacon Hill 2019. Okay? And just go down the list. I mean, these aren't in order, so I have to figure this out, right? And go down the list and get the top 10 by Google rankings. And say, according to Google, I don't even need to go to Yelp. I can do it, right? I could go top 5 high end. I could go, you know what I mean? You see what I'm saying? Like, it is endless. This is it. It is endless as to what you can do. And now you've got an evergreen once a year. They go in and write the top 10 restaurants there, top 10 in Back Bay, top 10 in the town of Barnstable. I don't have to go outside the geography. And it was like seconds to do this.
And then from there, you take that blog post, you share it on Facebook, and you say, give us your opinion to create engagement. And you talk about restaurants, and everybody goes batshit crazy here on Long Island.
You got it. You got it. See, what I'm working with on Eric is like, I told Eric, we're going to write this content. We're going to post this content. And whoever the media, listen to me say this, whoever the media management is, the share buttons will be right here so that they work correctly. Right? Right there. So you're not going to go and start screwing around with this. The share buttons will be right there, and they will be, so you'll put the content on your own mothership and share outwards. What you're doing right now is you're taking it natively and pulling it back in, right? Follow?
Seems like you could do this once a month for the top 10, top 5, whatever it might be.
Well,
hikes in the area, day trips, etc.
Yes. You know what Eric and I were looking at? Look at this. Look who already does this. Like, guys, if you don't start living like this in the digital world, you will be left behind. Airbnb, what do you think they do after you book? We started looking at it. So we're like, hey, you guys were just like, in Boston, right? So you were Back Bay, Boston. That's where you just were for the conference. So you kind of search in here, you start looking for stuff, they pick it up. Now watch what they do with content. Of course, just like us. Oops, thanks. I just put Back Bay, Boston. So now all of a sudden you come in here and you're all over this thing, right? So you start to look, I want to stay, at some of these spaces or whatever I want to do, right? And so if I don't want to show the map. Let's see if I can get the collage. Okay, here we go. So I get the collage. Now watch as I scroll down. I haven't picked it yet, but they'll work something else in here, which Eric and I discovered, which was what you just said, day trips. Okay, it's not going to populate because it wants me to pick something first. So if I start screwing around, but they start to populate other things. I mean, clearly their core business is to get me to rent a space. But ultimately, the deal is that they're going to start to give me other pieces. I got too many windows going. They're going to give me other pieces of content, but this is their core business. You tracking me? Okay, you guys still here? Hello. Hello.
Still here.
Hello.
Still here.
Okay. All right. Enough of me. Any final burning question? I'm trying to help you see the vision. We just finished 2 days.
You're breaking up now.
I am. Guys hear me? Guys hear me?
Yeah, it's a little tough line.
Okay. All right. We're done. See you Thursday. An offer that converts.
Thank you. Great call.
Yep. Take care.
Good job.
Take care.
Thanks, Danny.
You're welcome. You're welcome.
Thanks, Danny.
You're welcome all. You're welcome all. Everybody came to life at the end. I like it.
No, we've been here the whole time.
I got you.
Thank you so much for everything.
I got you. I saw you. See you Thursday. We'll calm it down a little bit. We'll talk about offers that convert. Okay? It's an important one. See ya.
See you Thursday.
Yep.
Bye.
Bye.